But when someone already know you, they trust the product, they know how to use it already. They went through that whole adoption journey with you. So when they land a new company, they're not going to start out with a starter package. They're like, oh, I need all these functionality that I'm used to. So that's when we see the deal size actually increase upfront.
Hi, welcome back to SaaS Half Full, the only show serving B2B SaaS marketers. I'm Lindsay Grober, president at Blast Media, and I will be both your host and bartender today. I had a conversation today with Trinity Nguyen, who is the VP of marketing at UserGems. We're tackling a topic that we haven't dove into yet on this show, which is shocking, I know, but we are talking about how much are job changers worth to your revenue and pipeline. So think about customers that love you, who voluntarily or involuntarily leave their company, go to another one. How are you tracking that? How are you reaching out? And how are you leveraging that relationship, if at all? We can all agree that, should be doing it, but Trinity's going to walk us through best practices on how to spin up that program, talk us through statistics on just how much those previous customers, or what she calls gems, are worth to your revenue org. So grab a drink and join me as I speak with Trinity from UserGems. Hey, Trinity, welcome to SaaS Half Full.
Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for having me.
I am happy to have you. I am looking at the landscape behind you and I'm seeing water and sunshine. You're sitting warmly in Miami and we are staring down a snowstorm today in Indianapolis. So I am jealous of your location. Are you joining me for a drink today?
Yes, I am. I have my old fashioned ready to go.
Look at you. I mean, guys, I don't know what time you're listening to this, but it's 11 a.m. on a Friday. So Trinity is being a really good sport. At least it's Friday. It's the kickoff to the weekend. I am having my go-to, which is a Tito's and soda. I keep this stocked at the office for conversations like these. Well, Trinity and I have not had a chance to properly meet, but there was a blog post that caught my attention because it was around how much are job changers worth to your revenue and pipeline. And that caught my attention because, as we all know, boy, the last 18 months for sales and marketing teams, there's been a lot of job changes voluntarily and involuntarily. So it's certainly a timely topic. But before we dive into that, Trinity, want to give our listeners an idea of who you are, a little bit about your background. As a B2B SaaS marketer, is this an industry you've been in for quite some time, or was it by happenstance? What has been your brief history?
Yeah, happy to. So I am leading the marketing team at UserGems. And the way we structure at UserGems, we also have sales development within marketing. So essentially the top of the funnel. Been with UserGems for 4.5 years, joined as a first business hire. So 2 co-founders, both are technical co-founders, and 2 engineers. It's been really fun building the business from the ground up. So it's been really, really fun. And I happen to be one of the first customers of UserGems in my previous life. I guess you can say my blood runs teal, which is our color, because we kind of see how it's been from the customer side and then now be on the vendor side and trying to explain to folks like why this could help people with pipeline anxiety like myself.
Absolutely. Were you working in the B2B SaaS industry prior to UserGems?
Yes, I have always been in B2B. SaaS, only the last 2 companies. Before that was hardware.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And for those who aren't familiar with UserGems, give us a quick rundown. Could be speed dating version, elevator pitch of why UserGems exists.
Yeah, so we're software for sales marketers and also sometimes customer success as well. And what we do is we capture relevant buying signals for your company and also turn them into actions that lead to pipeline and revenue. So one of the key buying signals for us is champion tracking, or you can so call like job changers. When someone already know your products, use your products, when they change to the next company, they're the warmest leads you can find to sell into the future company, right? The new company, because they already know you, they trust you. So there's less of the education or evaluation. So we've seen that internally for ourselves. We also run this play for our own pipeline generation. And we definitely see that there are higher win rates, a bigger deal size, and shorter sales cycle when a job changer or previous champions involved in the deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do feel like this is a underutilized segment because it's traditionally thought of as super hard to track. And I think about from tracking at scale. mean, we're a PR agency and we have a lot of job changes as our clients. Easier to track because we don't have volumes of subscribers, right? But traditionally, when I think about it, it seems like it would be hard to track. Before we dive into that, can you just elaborate more on just the overall concept of gems, how you're defining these?
Yeah. So we define gems as people who already have some type of relationship with your company. So the easiest one is your previous buyers. So say in Blast Media case, I'm assuming you buyer CMO. When they change their jobs, those are the gems. But there are also other types of gems. So for example, the users of your product. So maybe in PR, it could be like a PR manager. So they were not involved in the buying decision, but they use the product. So they know your brand. So it's already much further down of the awareness, consideration kind of like journey. And then for a lot of our clients, so they track like hundreds of thousands of users as well. Because at bottom up, right? Just because they were an IC before doesn't mean they won't be in the decision-making position at the next company. So they also track that layer.
Yeah. And it was really interesting in a down tech market. I'd be curious if you're seeing the same thing, but in a down tech market last year is when we look at just from an agency standpoint, where our highest source of new business came from last year, it was our gems. It was repeat clients. So these are not clients who took a break and then came back. These are clients that we worked with at one point, the humans who left, went to another company and brought us on. And it's a combination of both of those that you defined. So yes, it could be a CMO that left, went to another company and brought us on. But interestingly, we had many who were, I'm air quoting if you're only listening, who are users, which would be the PR manager, the comms leader, who went to another company and still weren't the decision maker there, but brought us in as part of the consideration set. But that was the first year in our 19-year history where repeat clients was our number one source of closed new business. Did you see any of those similar trends, either with UserGems or with your clients, where that segment significantly increased?
Yeah. So for our customers, we track that. And some of our customers are enterprise, all kinds of programs in place. And typically they would say things like UserGems program, like they can't disclose that the actual number from like the overall revenue and pipeline target, but easily in the top 3 programs after like inbound demo requests. So we do see that. I think it's really interesting that what you see, Lindsay. I wonder, did you change anything in your form field or like demo requests or something like that to capture that these gems coming back? Because what I found out when I work with a lot of companies is this happens all the time. But in the past, in our form, we never let them, like give them a chance to even tell us that they have a previous relationship. Until recently, there's this like free text field that everyone can just type what they want. And that's when people realizing that, there are more gems or like former customer coming back than they realize.
Our forms didn't change. We do have a space in our inbound forms where if they were a repeat, they would always say, hey, we worked with you at XYZ company. But oftentimes it was also like a direct outreach to the person that they used to work with when they were with their previous company. I think what did change though was the significant increase in job changers. I mean, we had more client contact turnover in the last 18 months than we've had in the last 19 years, which I'm sure a lot of your customers are seeing as well, right? You build these great relationships and then boom, your main client contact leaves. You're like, no. So that happens, right? And then I'm constantly on LinkedIn, like, where are they going? Where are they going? Make the announcement. What company is going to be with? So how are you able to track for your customers then when we're talking about thousands, right? Potential customers, how are you able to track when they leave, where they go, and then market to them or sell to them?
Yeah, so like end to end. So when we work with a company, then we'll work with you to define like who are the most valuable type of contacts for you. And different companies value different things. Like some of our customers, they don't want to track customers contacts, but they want to track close loss prospects. So depending on your strategy, but you define who are your gems. And then we enrich all those contacts if you miss any information and monitor every month if they change to any new companies and whether the new companies fits your ICP criteria. Because if they go back to school or something like that, it wouldn't matter so much to you, right? So once they match the criteria, like the ICP criteria, the new job, the new company, then we enrich their contact information in your CRM with their new information. So new email, phone, etc., you name it. And then we also work with you to see whether you want to automate this. So internally for us, we automate all the way in the end. Automatically send that contact or that lead to a sales outreach sequence that we build specifically for that scenario. So previous customer, now join ICP account, director and above title. This is the sequence they're going to go into. So the whole thing's automated, and our SDRs don't have to like sift through leads and find them by themselves.
Awesome. It seems pretty intuitive, and like these warm leads are going to close at a higher rate. You're going to have higher win rates with these folks who've already used you and loved you. Yes, makes sense. But something that surprised me was a stat that engaging gems contributes to a 54% increase in deal size. That surprised me. I think for a lot of folks, we would be so excited to have a former client come back. They'd be like, yeah, we'll honor your previous rate. Like, because, we love us, we know you, and it's going to be a good relationship, and just come back on. But what you're seeing is that there is an appetite to spend more money because there's already that relationship. Unpack that a little for us.
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of our customers are in software, right? So the whole platform. There's always a concept of like test the water, like crawl, walk, run. But when someone already know you, they trust the product, they know how to use it already. They went through that whole adoption journey with you. So when they land a new company, they're not going to start out with a starter package. They're like, oh, I need all of these functionality that I'm used to. So that's when we see the deal size actually increase upfront. Also, like over the last like 12, 18 months, everyone's tightened the budget. So for the new opportunities that we have, like just for ourselves, people just like, let's just start with a really basic package because budget's tight. But when we have a gem in any of these deals, it's a normal average deal size that we saw before the whole recession happened.
Right. You're connecting to your gems and you're seeing they move companies. They may have the same title, maybe a different role, maybe a different type of company or vertical. What are some best practices for engaging the gems so that you don't appear to be stalkerish, like, oh, like day one, we're back? What are some best practices or strategies for effectively engaging the gems once they've been identified, nurturing those relationships?
Absolutely. Please do not ask for a sales or meeting in your first email. I cannot emphasize this enough. Just think of them as someone like a coworker, someone you have relationship with, right? When they have a good news, the first thing you do is just be human, congratulate them, send them some gifts or any kind of like helpful content. So we always send gifts depending on the relationship and title and all that stuff. And not a single ask of anything. They're like, good luck. I'm sure you're going to kick butt. That's it. Just leave it there. I think our buyers are smart enough. They know that we're just trying to nurture the relationship, but they welcome that. So in our sequence, there's a break between the first touch, which is automated, so it's timely, but then it breaks for like 2 to 4 weeks before the second touch kicks in, when you're like checking in, how are things going? And that's when you earn your right to stop pitching.
Okay. Very good advice. You mentioned working with enterprise companies. I imagine you have different size companies that you work with, different verticals. Are there any specific industries or type of verticals where leveraging gems is more effective than others? And if so, like why? What are some of those common characteristics?
So for us, SaaS is our main industry. We also have business services as well, especially in the last 12 to 18 months. So I think the biggest success is ones who they have a large user base and they use it very broadly. So there's buyers, but they're also like that end user, because then you have a bigger universe to track. So I think that's probably the most common one. For business services, sometimes it's less, like the buying group is smaller, but the deal size larger. So it kind of like net out. They don't track like hundreds of thousands like some software companies, but the deal size is a lot bigger than SaaS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you seeing any specific roles be higher in terms of job changers? When you think about last year, any roles in sales and marketing that bubbled to the top were like, oh my gosh, yes, constantly churning this role?
I don't think it's news, but it's typically in revenue roles, typically in marketing. I think the tenure for CMO is still dropping. I think it's 18 months now instead of 24. So we definitely see that. Yeah. Sales, I think there are a lot of impact just because of the recession, the interest rate and all that. But I think marketing is the one that has a lot of turnover.
I know the SaaS CMO role. I'm like, why would anybody want that role right now? It takes, yes, strong will to want to do that. I went to I don't know if you've heard of the Empowered CMO retreat, all women's retreat, and it's been going for 5 years. It's been interesting how the conversations have changed. But this past October, it was just eye opening. There was a lot of CMOs who either voluntarily or involuntarily had left their roles and they did not have an appetite to go back. So the idea of the fractional CMO or being more of an advisory role or consultant, that was the sort of the way forward for many of these. There might be a world where, it comes back or it evens out, but that is, boy, it's a shitty role right now.
I noticed the same thing as well. Like outside of like UserGems and product, just on LinkedIn, a lot of CMOs I respect and follow for a long time decided to, step out from the game, like the arena a bit and kind of doing fractional. So I'm kind of curious how long this trend will last. Would it come back or this is kind of like the new normal? So it's very, very interesting.
Yep, absolutely. So beyond the direct sales impact, and we've talked about how shorter sales cycle, higher deal size, higher win rate for gems. I mean, it's all like, yes, check. That seems to make sense. Are there any like secondary benefits that you see from gems you're able to track? So whether that is improved brand advocacy, higher referral leads, have you seen secondary benefits from this group as well?
I haven't been able to track that. We do see more referrals, word of mouth that happen, but then it's really hard to attribute. Is it because we kind of always staying in touch with our universe, whether they come back or not, like they see our email, they see our name, right? And we advertise to the job changers as well. I can't attribute to that. But all of a sudden, I start seeing the last 6-8 months, a lot of word of mouth, and I can't trace back where exactly it's from a friend, a former coworker, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Are there ways to leverage gems when they job change into a role or organization where it just doesn't make sense, right, for them to use you? For example, we have CMOs that will leave a SaaS company and they go to work at a nonprofit. Not a fit for us, but are there ways still do you make asks to those gems or ways to leverage them in other?
Yeah, it's pretty much like a marketing nurture for me at that point, and it's more asking for referrals. So we have a referral program that not a lot of customers know. So just because they change their role doesn't mean their network is not your ICP. So they would be put into like one of the sequences, like 1 or 2 steps only. Like say, hey, we have a referral program. We're here if you need any help, blast media related or not. Just ping me. I'm here. Over time, we'll foster a referral. It's just hard to draw a line of attribution, but it's automated, so it doesn't hurt.
What is that? If they say, yeah, sure, I want to participate, what does that referral program look like?
So for us, we have a landing page that people just fill in the information. Like they can always go there, put in the information, and then it routes it to me. And then I will have a direct email and then keep them up to date on the ops. And then close one, we process referral fee and things like that.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. We all have our fingers crossed that the market will improve, tech market will improve. When we look ahead, as net new logos continue to be hard to acquire, and we're all looking at expansion programs within our current customer base, and now should be looking at gems within our organization as well. How do you see, if anything, the role of gems changing, being more important, less important? Is there new technology that you see on the horizon that could further the relationship with these gems?
Yeah. So I guess the first part is I'm on the bullish side that the market is getting better. Touch wood. My whole table is wood, so I'm gonna. But since like Q4 last year until this point, like the new logo, like the new business, we see an upward trend, and we heard the same thing with our customers as well. So I feel like we kind of seeing the end of the tunnel from the different ways of using gems. So we see more like customer success team want to use this trigger as an alert for any churn risk. Like when a champion leaves the account, meaning someone's going to come in, something's happening. How do I multi-thread and protect the customer accounts? So we do see like CS use case inbounding and talking to us. From the tech standpoint, I keep hearing about a lot. And also how we think about our go-to-market is how do we identify which accounts to go after when, and is there a good reason why of our outreach? So some companies are looking for signals, different kind of signals to indicate that this account and this person is like hot leads right now. So for us, like we've been using the champion tracking a job changer for 4 years to prioritize ABM accounts to go after them. So we layer in other signals like any new hires coming in, is there any like champion referral relationship, like any of our customer has any kind of relationship with anyone at that account. So basically we're just expanding this relationship signals into different use cases, all in just to identify who we should go after now and how do we reach out, what do we say?
That makes sense. Is there anything that we didn't tackle on the subject of job changes that you want to make sure that we talk about today?
No, I think this concept, it's pretty intuitive. I think we all kind of experience it ourselves as buyers too. It's just when you want to operationalize this kind of signal into your go-to-market, there's a bit of like thinking, okay, when do I do what? Which team do I pull in? And it's very easy to boil the ocean. So for us, just the job changer alone, we have 6 sequences for the SDRs with the ABM that benefit from it. The AE also get alert if like an open op gets a champion just joined or something. So it's very quickly that marketers, we like to scale things up. But my tip would be start small, crawl, walk, run. Start with one use case, one team, get some success before you scale it out. Because otherwise it's really hard to kind of wrap our heads around like all these crazy op setup.
Absolutely. And while we will never stop chasing new logos, certainly running expansion programs to grow your current client base even is an area that hasn't been operationalized the best way between customer success and sales and marketing. And I agree with you that we all nod our heads and say, yes, previous clients are amazing second clients, but to operationalize that at scale, it's like you're stuck. Like we all know it, we get it, we should do it, but how do we do it? Looking at these statistics of the increase in deal size, the decreased close time, increase in win rates, like that all matches my experience. But being able to do that at scale and have a way to automate that is really key. Well, for those of our listeners who have made it all the way to the end of this episode, we thank you. I have the same question that I ask all of my guests, Trinity, at the end, which is, what do you wish that more CEOs understood about marketing? And you have 2 technical co-founders, so this answer will be great.
Oh, man. No, I think I'm very lucky. And this is not like asking saying anything like that. But I'm very lucky that the founders actually understand the value of marketing. They don't know marketing, but because our target persona is marketer. So I think they appreciate like how hard it is to generate pipeline, right? So just for that alone, I am thankful because a lot of horror stories I've heard is just people, oh, can you just create decks? Can you beautify this thing? Basically just like graphic and nothing's quantifiable versus like for us, the founders get it. So what I'm saying is, CEO, just let us do our job.
Let us live.
Just let us do our job and it will be okay. The less emergency Slack you send on a Friday at 6 p.m., the more likely you're going to see more pipeline.
Love that. Well, I appreciate you joining me for a drink. Do you have a favorite or a signature toast that you can send us out with?
Oh, wow. So I'm Vietnamese and Vietnamese love cheering. Any gathering you see, like everyone scream really loudly. So everyone sit together and they say like 1, 2, 3, in, like go in, but in Vietnamese. And they say, 1, 2, 3, yo.
Love that. That is new. We have had cheers in so many different languages and not this. This is amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Trinity. It was a great conversation and thank you for joining me. Thanks again for joining me on SaaS Half Full. I really enjoyed that conversation. It got my own wheels turning about the gems we have within our organization. And hopefully you took a thing or two away from that and realized that you have many gems that you have yet to mine. Look at that for revenue. Thank you so much. Appreciate the listen. And until next time, bottoms up.